Chair recognizes Councilmember Brown for the next presentation.
Thank you and good morning, or good afternoon, sorry. Would my quest please stand, the folks from the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals, please. Now, last month, we had the opportunity to recognize and remember the contributions that African Americans have made to our nation. In the month of February, we celebrate heroes of the past. However, today, I have the honor of introducing to you heroes of the present. Now, most of you have probably seen the movie Red Tails, a story about the first African American military aviators in the United States Armed Forces. Proud men who rose to be some of our nation's best during a time when our military was racially segregated. Today I present to you the fruit of their labor and sacrifice. Here standing before us today as an alliance of men and women is the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals. They are our nonprofit organization devoted to diversifying the aerospace industry by introducing youth to aviation that would otherwise not have the opportunity to experience it. Over the past 3 months, these pilots and professionals have marched in the MLK parade, sponsored 320 children to view the movie Red Tails, have visited 32 schools in the HISD, and have spoken to over 8,000 students about their careers and what it takes to succeed. Let me be the first to thank you for your service, and I know some of you are veterans, so thank you for your sacrifice. At this time, I would like to present to you both a certificate of appreciation and a plaque for your organization. Mr. Gay commends you for your dedicated service, advocacy, and commitment to your community and the city of Houston, Texas. Thank you very much. Community Service Award presented to the Organization of Black Aerospace Professionals in grateful appreciation for your outstanding dedicated service to the people in your community and the city of Houston on this 20th day of March 2012. Thank you very much.
Hey, Mr. Bullard. To be followed by Ms. Melissa Bettis.
Mayor, as you may not be aware, some council members may not be aware, I was homeless from 92 to 98, and I utilized many people that helped me out with many meals over a 6-year period. A number of individuals are here today that will speak. I literally would not have survived without so many people that had the unrestricted ability to feed me. Mayor, I think you have personal knowledge that I was homeless when you first joined council. And to be honest with you, I'm a little bit disappointed that this agenda item has made it this far. I talked to your assistant. I asked her to ask you to remove this item from the agenda. I think that this has caused a major disturbance with a tremendous amount of people in the city of Houston, and you've let me down. And I wanted to come here today because I want this in the minutes. I want Ann Russell to put this in the minutes. Mayor, you've let me down. When you restrict...
Thank you. Your time has expired. Thank you.
Councilmember Brown.
Joshua, are you still in the audience? I've known you for a little time, and I did not know your history. And then yesterday, when I was out with the folks from the Food Not Bombs, I noticed you were driving around with a taxi cab. So you're a taxi cab driver now. So congratulations to you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
And I appreciate your testimony today. Had opportunity last night to meet and visit with a lot of folks, and it was a very rewarding experience being out there with you guys. And again, thank you.
Ms. Malice Dallas. Now, only one person at the podium at a time, unless you need an interpreter.
Yes. They can just stand right there. Yeah, they can stand right there.
Okay, thank you. I came here as a mother, first of all, and as a citizen of the city and the country. And I came because I skipped school and said, I think this is important for me to skip school and bring my kids so that they can understand what this means. This is something that will affect them. We teach them to share. Sharing is caring. How do I explain to them when they're in the room playing with their kids that their friends have to come and get a permit from me so that we can share donuts? It doesn't make sense. So I want them to understand what is really going on. This is about money. This is about either the city making money for permits or the people with money in the property that don't want, it's a sword to their eye and they don't want the ugliness of homelessness. For the first time in my life, I am homeless. I am blessed with a sister who gave me a house, but you don't understand the importance of community sharing without regulation, with nothing but love and spontaneity. That is the human element. And if money is speech, food is speech, and it should not be restricted or regulated.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank
Ma'am.
you. Thank you.
Ma'am, Ms.
Ma'am.
There's a couple of questions, but to be clear, there's no registration fee, there's no money for anything in this ordinance. The only thing in the ordinance is permission from the owner of the property, and I think that that is a small thing to ask. But there are a couple of council members with questions. Councilmember Brown.
Currently, there are no fees involved, but then again, we heard from another person previously talking about the creeping aspect of ordinances, which we see time and time again throughout the history of our government. So if we are having people enforce this, staff taking care of registrations and education alike, there will have to be a fee to cover the costs because our city is in dire situation financially. Yes. So if we can't enforce the laws already on the books, how can we even be thinking about an ordinance that would add additional burden upon our police officers and the like?
Exactly, especially in the economic situation that we're all in.
Thank you for your testimony, for bringing up your children in the right fashion. Thank you very much.
Ms. Mandel will be followed by Ms. Emily Hill.
Thank you. Let me begin by saying that I know that there are those who wish to corral the homeless population out of sight and organizations which would be strengthened through this ordinance, and they have been heard. They argue that we should steer the homeless to acquire services. However, if you've ever personally dealt with homeless people, you will know that they will not just grab your resource list and run to the nearest providers. Controlling the food options of the homeless is neither necessary nor humane. They can and should be allowed to choose what they will eat. Regarding food safety, what is the number of foodborne illnesses reported as a result of bad food served to the homeless? Certainly no more than the number reported from restaurants certified by our city. Statistically speaking, there is no logic in that ordinance. Tragically, the homeless are so hungry that they frequently eat out of garbage cans. Why, knowing this is their plight, would anyone sign away their provisions with the waiver of a pen and a stroke of a pen? Although it is no doubt easier to sign off on.
Councilmember Brown.
Thank you.
Ma'am, if you can wrap up what you were saying, please.
Yes. Well, finally, I would just like to say that when Jesus fed the 5,000, he did not direct them to a kitchen that was approved by Caesar at a time appointed by Caesar and at a location designated by Caesar. He accepted the lunch of a little boy, multiplied it by the power of love, and shared it with the multitude.
Thank you. In regards to what keeps on being stated about churches not having to be affected by the proposal and the current or the amended proposal, and it also keeps on being stated that this is about property rights.
Yes.
Well, if it's about property rights, why don't we amend our trespassing laws if that needs to be amended? This is supposed to be about charitable food service ordinance. So is it about this or is it about property rights? The other issue is about the churches. Yes, they will be affected. They have to demonstrate proof that feeding taking place on their property has been granted permission. And they had to show Caesar the piece of paper.
Yes.
Ms.
Ma'am,
Robin, I'm sorry.
Ma'am, are you Ms. Hill? Ms. Hill that we skipped over? I'm sorry. Ms. Emily Hill, okay.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'm here on behalf of the Hare Krishna Temple of Houston, and it is part of our mission to distribute food to the homeless. And in fact, we have contributed food to Food Not Bombs. I understand they're not targeted directly, but still they are an organization that does distribute food to those in need. I can say that 25 years ago, we did have a food truck that would cook and distribute food to the homeless. And because we had such a positive response, we had a lot of people who were coming to take part in that, or take advantage of it. We were shut down by the city because apparently we didn't have the right permits or what have you. And so if this ordinance is to be passed, at what length will it end? The law is vague, correct, as far as private property. And so if we are to distribute this food, who's to say what's private and what's not?
Thank you. Your time has
Generally
expired.
pretty easy, but ma'am, there's a question. Councilmember Adams.
Mayor, I wanted to make a motion to suspend the rules. That's what I kept buzzing in for. It just so happened Mr. Ray was standing up there, so. And I need to make a motion to suspend the rules. We have a couple of speakers that
I
are.
don't have enough. You need a council member to
One
come
just
back.
walked.
We've only got 10.
Okay.
Sorry. Thank you.
No, Councilmember Brown.
Oh, I'm sorry, Councilmember Brown? Ma'am.
Actually, I have a question, and I'd like to get clarity on this. I actually have clarity on it, but I just want to get confirmation on the answer. Who's to say who signs a piece of paper demonstrating that they have given permission to have food distribution on their property? If a law enforcement shows up where there's food being distributed on a property, and the property owner's not there, but they granted permission, they have to have some proof, or else those people distributing food
Will be ticketed.
Exactly. So
Yes, ma'am.
if people are distributing food on your property, Mayor, and you granted them permission, yes, you do need to demonstrate proof.
Yes, ma'am. But if I'm a church, and the members of the church are there on site distributing food, you have permission.
Right, but if they're there without permission,
Then they would have to.
so there has to be paperwork from the
demonstrate
church demonstrating
permission.
that they've given
If
permission.
they did not physically have the proof with them, the ordinance contemplates that they would be written a ticket, just like we all have received tickets, I'm assuming, here in the city for various things, parking tickets, for example. And it's a defense to prosecution to then show, I forgot my permission from the property owner, here it is.
Right, so the church does need to leave permission in
Not
writing somehow with the
your
group
own
that's feeding.
property. If it's my property and I indicate, this is where I live, this is my property, I don't have to have any further proof
Right,
for the
if you're
police.
not there and you granted the permission, though, some type of proof in writing has to be left with those distributing
Yes,
food.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.